Hello, hello, the internet. Let's talk about some gear today. The 2025 gear update. A few things have changed, nothing too crazy. Thought maybe we should talk about it. So here we are. What we're looking at here while I go ahead and do this intro is this is all my nylon gear, right? So this is my sustainment belt, my pistol belt back here, my chest rig, right there. My plate carrier is on the stand, and then that's my bump helmet. So I say that to demonstrate that all of it is kept in a pretty tight space, right? And I could pack that down all up on top of each other, even tighter if I needed to. So modularity versus versatility. Modularity is your ability to swap different pieces of kit or different panels or whatever on kit so that you're able to serve a lot of different jobs with a smaller total amount of stuff, right? So with just a few swaps here and there, we're able to serve a wider variety of tasks and roles. Versatility is each individual pieces of gear's ability to flex into other roles, right? So if we just have, for example, a AR-15 Kydex single magazine holder comparatively to, say, a surplus double mag Molly 2 magazine holder, right? That Kydex AR-15 magazine pouch can only hold AR-15 magazines. That's basically all it can hold. But that double magazine pouch can hold magazines, smokes, radios, laser rangefinders, a pistol, tons of stuff, right? So let your imagination run wild. It's not to pick on either one or highlight either one of those specific two pouches, but the more versatility you can get out of the pouch and it still does its primary job, that's always better than getting a pouch that only does one job and that way it has no versatility. All right. When is it? Let me get a drink of water here, fellas. When is it that we will be able to utilize the modularity of gear, right? Said more simply, when am I going to be able to swap gear out? How long am I going to be stuck in whatever rifle or chest rig or belt it is I chose to put on? And the truth is that just depends, right? Depends on the greater situation, the environment, and most importantly, your operation tempo. Ultimately, whenever you come back to a safe area, where you like sleep on a cot or a bed, right? Not in the dirt, and you're able to get some hot chow, there will be a place where you can keep a small amount of gear, right? Your foot locker, your war box, your deployment bag, whatever, right? A couple bags of your shit, and you can swap between your chest rig, your plate carrier, one upper receiver or the other, whatever the case is. Now, for whatever your mission is, and then you're going to go out and go on mission. Now that mission set might be just an afternoon, it might be a couple days, or it might be the entire deployment, right? You might select your stuff, fly in, and then you are on the part of the initial invasion or whatever the case is, and for the full 3 months, 6 months, year, whatever the deployment cycle is, you have only the gear that you initially put on and brought with you because you're never going to go back to rest area. And there might be other situations or times where every single night, or maybe even multiple times within a day, you're able to come back to the rest area. That's why you see on the internet this great point of contention between different people and different experiences and different imagined scenarios, talking about whether you should have a bunch of gear or no gear, right? I think there's a happy medium. I made a whole video about that, so I'm not going to go too down the rabbit hole, but you should have, all of your gear should be highly versatile, but it's good to have a little bit of modularity as well, okay? So, and as a final point of a disclaimer, right? Don't get too hyped on gear at all. Gear is just there to assist the warrior. It doesn't make him, okay? You can absolutely maneuver with and close on and destroy the enemy with a JanSport full of magazines and water if necessary. Wonderful. All right. So this is my pistol. I use it for EDC. Nothing about my EDC has changed, so go watch that video from a little bit ago. This is a Glock 19 Gen 4, I'm pretty positive. It's got a Streamlight TRL HL on it. It's got the Trijicon RMR on there, a Surefire Zev collab barrel, and pretty much all Zev internals to include that trigger. I wouldn't necessarily suggest you do this to your Glock, and if and when this Glock dies, I will probably just replace it with whatever the current generation stock Glock is and swap the sights out and put the RMR and the flashlight on it. But since I've done all these modifications to this Glock, I have many, many years carrying it and several thousand rounds through it with basically no malfunctions or hiccups for the most part. So it's going to just go ahead and stay the way it is for me for now. As you can tell, it's got plenty of wear and tear and love on it. It's my daily driver. All right, this is quote-unquote my rifle, right? Talked about this a lot before. One lower, two uppers, okay? So we have one upper set up to fight up close, one upper to fight at far, but both of them can do either if necessary, and both of them can fight during the night or the day. All right, so this is set up for its more close setting, right? EOTech EXPS 3-4. I can throw a magnifier on there. I need to upgrade that magnifier, but it is what it is for now. And for the light, we are running a Streamlight ProTac 2 HL or something like that. It's a hand light, but I threw it on there with a Frankenstein of Magpul and Arasaka pieces, mount pieces, but it's doing its job. Yeah, I have done this to mini rifles, and I love this. And even in its final form, this is probably going to stay the same, and I will just get a laser aiming module that does all of my IR, Illumin laser stuff for this, and leave that as my white light. It definitely gets the job done. This is a BCM upper, BCM bolt carrier group, Noveski 13.7 barrel with a pin and weld Surefire flash hider to put me at just at 16 inches, so I don't have to play with any sort of silly nonsense laws, depending on how the ATF feels day to day. Cool, this is my SPR quote-unquote situation upper receiver put on there. It's a Voltor enhanced upper and a Noveski 16-inch heavy stainless steel barrel on the Midwest Industries Night Fighter rail. So all that just gives me a real stable link up, right? My upper receiver is enhanced in rigidity. My rail and my barrel nut is enhanced in rigidity, so I have a really stable, rigid upper receiver for this precision system. It also has a Surefire three-prong, blah, 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 blah. Right, so the optical package we're running is a Night Force 4-16 with a RMR dual lume, no battery optic up top. And that is sitting on a Reptilia mount. So, good times. Up top for illumination and IR, we are running the Holosun LE117 and the Surefire Vampire. It is the cheapest I could get into what I would consider durable and reliable IR illumination and laser, and also giving me the lightest and the smallest package on this already heavy upper receiver. So that's what I went with. The low receiver that swaps between the two rifles, we have just an arrow lower, nothing too cheap and nothing too crazy either. That's got a LaRue 2-stage trigger in there. The flat trigger is just what they had in stock when I got it. K&S precision anti-rotation pins so that my pins can't come loose. And I don't even remember what brand, but a nice ambidextrous 45-degree safety that sits on a Magpul stock, and in that stock I keep a bolt, right? So in this pistol grip, rather, I keep a bolt, and then in this stock I keep spare 1, 2, 3 batteries, right? So that runs my light, my laser, and the main optic that I have to have battery illumination for, all right? So on the rifle, has the batteries for the rifle. Also running a bad lever on that lower receiver. Wonderful. And this, everyone always asks me about my scrim or whatever on my rifle. That is just literally like a rolled up thing, a burlap you can get from Hobby Lobby or wherever, Michael's. and I have painted it and twisted it and spun it around on itself and then wrapped it around the rifle and just literally worked it over in my hands and with spray paint to get it to do what I want. Nothing special or crazy. Boom, boom, boom. All right, this is a home defense situation. So in between the EDC and the tactical, if there's a bump in the night, this is what I grab. So these dual 40 rounders with 35 grain Hornady Tap Patrol. So that's a monolithic copper round right here. Monolithic copper round with a polymer insert to do expansion. So we both have a bunch of expansion, like a quote-unquote hollow point would have, but we also have that increased penetration from monolithic copper, and it is going fast because it's only 53 grains. So that's what I'm running for self-defense in the house. And then this is my little sling bag that sits next to my bed. A little bit better view of what's going on there. So inside this we have 4 magazines, 3 flexi cuffs, some bear mace, and an IFAK, right? As well as that headlamp attached on the top. So this is what I would grab. That's all inside of it. And this should give me enough medical and restraints and less than lethal and ammunition to deal with whatever is going on around my property. Wonderful. Moving into the tactical world, first line gear. So this is what would be on my body. As we see, my watch is currently at the time of filming broken. It has no watch band on it. Need to replace that. It will get replaced soon. But I would have a watch with a watch compass. I would then have another wrist compass on the other wrist, and a headlamp that would often be dangling around my neck. But if I definitely wasn't going to use it anytime soon, it might end up in a cargo pocket or something. Each of these, one in the right shoulder pocket, one in the left shoulder pocket. This is a little survival kit with like water purification tablets and some fire starting stuff in it. This here is a signal kit with an emergency whistle and a high-vis panel strip and a signal mirror wrapped up. This would go in my left pants pocket, left front pants pocket, right? So we have, I forget what it's called, but the Swiss Army knife, the biggest one that has the most stuff. That's my EDC multi-tool, and that stays with me in a tactical environment, as well as this soft T tourniquet and the same light that's on that 13.7-inch upper, the Streamlight ProTac 2 HLX or whatever it is. That is my EDC flashlight, and as you can see, this one is well loved. In my right pants pocket, we have my EDC pocket knife, as well as batteries for things on my chest rig, right? So, this would run on optic, possibly CR 2032s, and then a 4 AAAs to run headlamps or GPSs, Kestrel, things like that, as well as a small camouflage face paint compact. Again, this is the right pants pocket, right front pants pocket. Attached possibly to my gear, possibly to my blouse, depending on the situation, would be a compass and a whistle. This whistle I use for signaling in a tactical environment, not for emergency. These items would get placed in the administrative pouch, depending on whether I have a chest rig or my plate carrier, or if I happen to be running just a belt, these would get placed in a cargo pocket or a chest pocket. Right, these are some quick cheat sheets for reports and writing up orders and other things like that. These are out of the Marine Corps Tholes. This is some basic note-taking gear, map pins, field note on Write in the Rain paper, and a Sharpie. And then over here, land navigation. We have a map of my local area, drawing a blank, range card, pre-printed out, blank laminated range card, as well as a land navigation protractor and a small ruler that I use to help me in land navigation. All that goes, again, in my admin pouch. And then all these things, all this stuff that's not part of my EDC goes in this bin. So it's easy access. I grab this bin, put everything in my pockets or in the gear where it goes, and I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, so this is my pistol belt. It's nothing special. It's not to be used a lot. Mostly just at the range, but it could have some limited use in an urban situation, right? So we have a retention holster for my Glock 19, 3 Kydex pistol mags for fast access, a little tourniquet back here in the back. This arguably should be replaced with a full IFAK. And then I have a couple of grenade pouches up in the front. just in case times get super spicy and I'm wearing this in a direct action setting. That would be when I would want some extra frags for sure. All right, moving on to kind of the core piece of kit for my entire situation. This is my sustainment belt. Okay, so we got some danglies here on the front. We have a dump pouch, 3 triple mag pouches, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 canteen pouches. This gets used as an NVGs and accessories pouch. This is an IFAK, 2 canteen pouches, and then a frag pouch. Wonderful. So we'll talk about each of these pieces moving in this location, starting with my left-hand side. So we just have gloves, mechanics gloves, nothing special, can't beat them in my opinion. They are a perishable good that needs to be replaced often, but it is what it is. So are all gloves. No sense in spending $1 million on them. And then this is just a bandana that is 550 corded to a carabiner that I can use to wipe my hands or my face or whatever I need to. All right. In the IFAK, we have, or in the dump pouch rather, we have dummy corded to it and then placed in some pockets on the side the Gerber trauma shears and a Leatherman multi-tool. Nothing special, just some shears and a multi-tool. Boom. All right, triple mag pouches. Frequently they're used just as double mag pouches, but if necessary we can load up and run up to 9 mags on the belt as so. All right, this is our NVG pouch, and we have the padded insert for these Eagle canteen pouches. Inside there would go my PVS 14s as well as the J-arm, and then some extra water considerations. A water key for getting water out of urban buildings, like industrial buildings, factories, apartment complexes, hotels, whatever the case is. And then some extra, more easily accessible water purification tabs. There's an IFAK that we kind of skipped over, nothing special. And then 2 canteen pouches. Each of those, as you can see here, has a canteen cup inside. Oop. Okay, and if necessary, versatility in our gear. If I absolutely need to carry a pistol with my sustainment belt, I can download 1 canteen and then throw a pistol in there. I didn't go through all the steps of retaining the Kydex holster insert and getting the canteen cup out of there, but you get the idea of the capabilities that we have here with running a pistol in this canteen pouch. Boom. So that was the belt. This is my chest rig. All right, so this is a TAPS rig that we have a Spiritus System harness on. We got a lot going on here. We have 5 magazines. Those magazines are held in with Kydex inserts that I got off Amazon. We have 1 combat pistol or combat knife. This is a fixed blade that I could use anything from fighting to utility. We have 2 tourniquets, right? 1 on our weak side and then 1 on the strap. We have a GPS. We have a 1 radio down lead, and we have the potential, which I am running in this picture, to have 2 radios, 1 on each side. And then mollied to the front, we have our admin pouch. Already talked about what would go in there, as well as 2 40 mic pouches that I use like they're pistol pouches. And then these canteen pouches that are open with nothing in them. Anything could go in there, from water to more medical, optics like laser rangefinders or binoculars, more magazines, frag grenades, smoke grenades, flares, pop-ups, you name it. Boom, just another look. As it wraps around, things fit a lot nicer as it would wrap around the body. We can see I also have a little small utility light put on there, USB-C rechargeable. Most of my tactical gear runs batteries, as it should, but I like the idea of having some small utility USB-C lights and stuff like that floating around. Okay, inside those 40 mic pouches, generally speaking, I'm going to carry another USB-C admin light, this Olight Arkin Pro, and then over here in this pouch, I'm going to carry the 5-inch Nipix and a Milwaukee switchback, which is utility blade, and a bit driver here on the back. I like this primarily for the fact that it has a visible laser, and I currently, on none of my rifles, have a visible laser, so this is a really great administrative tool, at least for me and right now. But the fact that it has a light and a black light also comes in handy. I'm not upset about it. Moving on to the plate carrier. Plate carrier is set up in a very similar fashion, right? We also have 5 mags as a standard across the back that Administrative pouch up front. We already know what would go in it. We see off to the side here, which I think is the next slide. Yes, it is. This magazine pouch also offers me space that I could run my Arkin Olight and my Milwaukee Switchback. This is just a canteen pouch back here. It has one of those airsoft smokes back there. Just utility, catch all frags, whether I have flashbangs, frag grenades, or smokes. Grenades can go there, and I can reach back and access them fairly quickly. Okay. These are double mags. Typically would just run single for the sake of, having armor room and stuff, but if necessary, I could load up and run doubles. There on the other side, my strong side, keeping it super slim down, but I do have a 10-speed, two 10-speed pouches there. So anything could go there, an additional 2 mags or whatever, right? You know the drill with these. And typically there's going to be nothing, so it's going to be nice and slim for me to access my pistol if I have it, or just be able to manipulate my rifle well. There on the bottom, tucked away, we have a very small dangler pouch with a tourniquet put in there. And as we can see, we also have a tourniquet right here. So 2 tourniquets on the chest rig, 2 tourniquets on the plate carrier. And then this area here, this area right here, which we're just zoomed in on, is pretty busy, right? So we have one of those same Olight task lights, another radio, lapel mic, pre-staged for us, our Garmin GPS, and then access to our same fixed blade knife. In the back, nothing crazy. We just have a Camelback carrier. We're using this small padded NVG pouch, USMC padded NVG pouch, to be a radio, and we can fit 2 of most modern ham radios in there. So 2 radios are accessible as well. And then we run a little bit of additional whole nother IFAK on this, because if we're running armor, we're probably getting shot at. If we're probably getting shot at, increased likelihood that we're going to get shot. What did I just want to talk about? Shoot. Oh, radios. If necessary, I can end up running a radio here. Just go back to the front right. If necessary, I can run a radio on this 10-speed pouch and a radio here in this mag pouch, which gives me front access to those radios to be able to spin the dials and do what I need to on them if I'm having some sort of radio issue in the middle of a situation. All right. So as we can see, all my gear has been dyed green. I did that so that I think it matches my environment a little bit better, as opposed to standard multicam and Coyote, as well as I don't want to look like a government person, right? I want to look like I'm not in the government, so I'm very happy about that. So that's why I dyed my stuff green. All right, and as we can see, these are my super sexy side sappy holders. Just some ISO mat taped to that, and then that is 550 corded to the molly. So far, so good. I'm sure it won't last forever, but YOLO. Helmets. This is my helmet. It is an Amazon special. This is an Amazon Wilcox G24 knockoff. It's been going strong for a good while for me now. I put my blood type and the fact that I have no drug allergies on there, so that's a good idea for you to do too. We're rocking Walker razors up here, okay, on some Amazon rail mounts and all that. They don't fit the best, they don't work the best, but especially in an outdoor setting, they definitely damper the gunshots down. Your ears don't ring afterwards. They get the job done. In the back here, we're running a Mohawk. Inside that, we have double A's. So the double A's run my NVGs, and those are in the helmet. The CR123s run the rifle. Those are in the rifle. And then the triple A's for my chest rig are in my pocket, right? So there's where all my batteries. One change for everything is on me. Spread load throughout, so I don't have this big, massive batteries I'm trying to put somewhere because they're stashed where they go. As well as running some counterweights, especially with the bump helmet. Super important when you're running NVGs. And instead of having some sort of special strobe or anything, I keep an IR chem light back here that I can crack. And then if we're running nods, there's my illumination for where I am. Boom. And cannot forget the bandana. Very important, so sweat isn't pouring down in your eyes. And all this scrim is just random stuff, right? We have a couple different types of cami netting, And then again, that same big thing of burlap, just cut up, chopped up, spun around itself, stressed, painted, etc., etc. Inside, we are running Amazon knockoffs. So this helmet's from Amazon, this mount's from Amazon. And inside here is Amazon pads and an Amazon Team Windy knockoff harness. The harness feels a little janky, but it's honestly held up well. I have not had any major issues with it. It works good. So that's it, boys. That's my gear 2025 update. Thanks for watching.